Azul, fellow citizens of Talossa. I am Ian Tamaran, one of your justices, but here I'm talking with my wig off, although, as you can see, I always have a grey wig on, though it's not quite so curly and quite so long as it would have to be in court. The three things I want to talk about work together. They are justice, law, and the courts. The courts deal with the law. The courts implement the law, decide what the law actually means, looks at the case in hand, and passes judgments thereupon. There is one other thing that the courts do, however, is the courts look at justice. It's very rare in Talossa that we have to consider natural justice in our judgments, though we have to remember that that is always a possibility. So far, I don't think we've had that, although it would be possible to go back to other cases and discover that there was a cruel and unusual punishment of some kind. However, the courts, in finding difficulties of interpretation with the law, do not directly make recommendations to the politicians to fix the law. They do, however, comment on the ambiguities and difficulties in interpretation. It's up to the politicians, then, to decide upon what changes to the law are required and are wanted by the people. However, we want to be careful. There might be situations in which the law is unchangeable. This is a bad thing. There should be no such thing as an absolute restriction upon change in the future. Change is inevitable. Change is what keeps things moving. So we have to look back to what is Talossa, that the change is needed. Well, what is Talossa? Talossa is a country. Yes, but what is Talossa? Well, Talossa has a language, yes, and has a court system, yes, and has a political system, yes, and has internal jokes, I'll mick that, and it has all kinds of strange things. But what is Talossa? Do we go back to the inspiration of a 14-year-old boy some 30-something years ago? Or do we look forward to the future? Are we, like the USA appears to be, bound by, eternally, the laws that were passed back then? Or can we, like the UK, modify those laws in order to match the new situations? I would suggest to you, fellow Talossans, that we can modify whatever law we feel is appropriate to be modified for the current day. Now, different laws of different impact require different amounts of thought. An arbitrary law such as you will always issue your emails in blue, well, who cares? Or you will always publish the laws in Talossan, bit harder. Or you shall never argue with the king. Ooh, much, much harder, because that's, no, maybe not. Or, not the votes are counted, but the intention of only the Privy Council. No, we don't want a law like that. So, what laws within Talossa are modifiable and what are not? It's up to you, my fellow Talossans, to decide which, but I would advise you that all laws are modifiable, because if they are not, we are no longer a democracy. And the one thing I want Talossa to be, and I reckon that you want Talossa to be, is democratic. Thank you for your attention.